It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
It's the most exciting sport on earth as far as I'm concerned.
Take a walk through the Nitro pits as we go one-on-one with the stars of drag racing.
Hey, you're with Matt Hagan. This is Ron Capps, Matt Hagan's personal friend. You're on WFO.
Featuring the NHRA's Alan Reinhart.
Our events are truly an experience. They're not just a spectator event. They are an experience.
So get in, sit down, and hold on with host Joe Castello as he goes WFO.
Thanks, brother. Always love being on WFO, baby. Nobody brings it to you better than you, brother.
Now crank it up. It's time to go WFO. Here's your host, Joe Castello.
What's up, NHRA fans? Welcome back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro Podcast. Joe Castello back in the studio for literally just hours before I head out to the AAA Texas Fall Nationals. NTK Carolina Nationals in the books. Rain postponed till Monday, but what a day it was. We're going to have Alan Reinhart debrief us on all the racing action. I was there for about half of the day, and then saw a lot of action watched on NHRA.tv or listened, and it was spectacular. What a day of racing. So many great things going down. Steve Torrence over Doug Coletta, the 2 points leaders meet in the final round. What more can you ask for that? The number 1 and 2 qualifier in funny car, Jack Beckman, Robert Height meet each other in the final round. Beckman goes red. That was a shock. Pro Stock, Matt Hartford. Didn't we just have Eddie Granaccia on the show a week ago? Hopefully you listened to that interview. He and Derek Kramer, Matt Hartford and Derek Kramer race in the final round. Derek Kramer comes out on top, but the points very close. Erica Enders now the points leader. And in Pro Stock Motorcycle, Andrew Hines. We're going to try to catch up with all the winners, as many as possible, this week. But literally have just hours to do it, so we'll see what happens. We'll do our best. I can promise you're going to hear from Alan Reinhart. You know why? Because you're going to hear from him just seconds from now. And we appreciate the people who make it possible, meaning our great sponsors like samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed with samtech.edu. Factory Stock Showdown going on this weekend. Just hours away. I'm getting ready to board the plane immediately. Rodax Coffee and Grills.com, hot sauces and spice rubs. But the best part, if you're going down to the Fan Fest out there in Ennis on Thursday night, Marvin is going to be there, so you can hook up with Marvin, talk about getting hooked up with some coffee, all that stuff. If you are a far-off, distant listener, just call Marvin, 817-924-6821, and order some coffee. Roasted, fresh per your order. It'll change your life. It is amazing stuff. Plus the hot sauces and the spice rubs, amazing. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. Plan it. The holidays coming. You can get it as a gift. You can definitely, your friends, your family, you could set up even a race even. Who knows? Clients, sales team, reward your best of the best. FrankHawley.com, the Dragster Adventure. MagicDryUS.com, the official organic absorbent of the NHRA. It is made of coconut. It works very well. It is easy to travel with because it is lightweight. Got to check them out. MagicDryUS.com. And Total Seal, piston rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Speaking of Matt Hartford, going to another final round, looking great in the point standings. We are going to catch up and discuss the entire Pro Stock field with Alan Reinhart. But if you are building engines for a living, building, rebuilding, or otherwise, whether they be IndyCar, NASCAR, Stock Eliminator, or over-the-road cars, Total Seal makes the rings to fit your pistons. Total Seal, the leader in ring seal technology. Plus Drag Racing Edge magazine and EV3 Drag Racing, a game for your mobile device. Drag Racing game. Why would you not play it? Check it out. All cross-promotional sponsors with WFO. Big thanks to everybody who supports this podcast. All right, let's get into it. Joining us now, he called the action out there at zMAX Dragway, the NTK NHRA Carolina Nationals. Even a bonus day. Alan Reinhart. Alan, welcome back.
Hey, Joe. Great to be back.
The best races, right, are weird circumstances. Like this race, it was Monday. We had a decent crowd, all things considered, and they saw incredible racing, like hole shots, double O lights, upsets, just chaos top to bottom. Spectacular day.
Yeah, it really was. It's just a shame that we couldn't do it on Sunday when there would have been a whole lot more people there.
watch it. But the starting line was definitely the key yesterday. Between red lights and hole shots, 25% of the races were decided right on the starting line, and it was just a wide open, crazy day.
And the points just changing all around, very exciting, very interesting. But in the end, it's Steve Torrence, Robert Hight, Derek Kramer, Andrew Hines. We saw champions decided as Steve Jackson locks it down in Pro Mod, Megan Meyer, Sean Bellemere lock it down in the Lucas Oil Series. And, just top to bottom, a great day of racing. Unfortunately, we lost Sunday, but it is what it is. But here we go. Steve Torrence, Doug Coletta, 1 and 2 in points. They meet in the final round. That's how you'd like to draw it up for the fans.
Yeah, and like I told Steve in the winner's circle, it's you consider the fact that you came in here, you qualified number one, ran very well in qualifying, got a lot of the little points, make it all the way to the final round. But if you lose this one, you still have a net loss for the weekend. And he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "Don't think we're not thinking about that." And they firmly believe that Doug's going to be there right down to the wire, and that they can't give him an inch. So it worked out this week for the Torrance clan. It was also kind of interesting. I don't know if they had been trying something or doing something else, but Doug did not run very well in qualifying. Qualified down in the bottom half of the field, but combination of better performance and a little bit of good fortune on Monday carried him to the final round.
Yes, exactly. And I am enjoying, the entertainment value. The Capco boys scrap for this. And I know they lost 600 points. They lost the first race of the countdown, and having to shake everybody off and roll forward and beat Doug in the final round. If they were to go on and win the championship, which is still yet to be determined and a long way away, we're only halfway through the countdown. It just goes to show the strength of that team. There were some other great stories on the weekend, though. Our guest from a week ago, Justin Ashley, in his first race, Alan, goes out there and makes the semifinals. That was pretty special.
Yeah, they had a good car. He certainly was driving well. His reaction times were top of the chart, and they had a car that was going down the racetrack. Aaron Brooks is a pretty sharp guy. They've got good equipment over there, and I think they went in there with the attitude or the mentality that, we're going to make clean runs. We're going to go down the racetrack. We're learning. We're getting Justin some experience, and whatever happens, happens. And, they were a solid car that was running high 70s. There were cars in the lower 70s, and Brittany, of course, went that next 69 in the first round. But they were going to go down the racetrack, and you were going to have to beat them. They weren't going to give you one. So it came down to the semis before Steve Torrence did finally beat them. But yeah, I think they were very happy with that debut, and they certainly look good. Good equipment, good looking hauler, nice uniforms, good operation. They had a very nice debut.
And to beat Austin Prock on a hole shot the first time you race him, it's a statement. It's a statement for the the young up and coming wave that Austin is a part of. Hey, there's more, and I'm coming up behind you.
I agree, and they just and Austin, of course, prides himself on his reaction time advantage. I mean, it came down to a couple of thousandths, like a number of the races did, but they were they ran a good, clean operation and made it all happen.
So Steve Torrence has a 30-point lead over Doug Coletta, Brittany 92 back, Leah 125 back, Salinas goes down first round 129 back, Billy right in the middle sixth 150 back, then Austin Prock 152, Richie, Antron, and Clay. And to me, I don't know, is this is it a 3-horse race? Is it a 4-horse race? Is it a 2-horse race? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think I'm going to withhold judgment for 6 more days.
6 more days, right.
I said last week, we've got a back-to-back here. When we leave Dallas, then we've got 2 to go, and I think that we're going to really know at that point. We're starting to see a little bit of separation, but, there's everything that happened this week could reverse next week, or it could double next week. And I want to see that, and then I'll give you my who's in and who's out.
I like it. Very interesting, though. A lot of movement. And then Funny Car. What a weekend of Funny Car racing. Just very entertaining. Beckman, the number 1 qualifier, storms to the final round. Robert Hight, who was the number 2 qualifier, goes to the final round. Caught a little bit of a break second round when Tim Wilkerson had a 102 reaction time. I think a lot of people in the field were like, oh, missed opportunity right there. you gotta hold down a guy like Robert, Jimmy, and Chris Cunningham, and that was Wilk's opportunity to get him early, and he shook it off and goes to the final round and wins on a very uncharacteristic red light by Jack Beckman.
Yeah, the last time Jack Beckman went red in the final was over 10 years ago. So uncharacteristic, I think, is a good word for it. But you know the old story about how we don't run them on paper?
Yes.
We damn near could have run the funny car race on paper. In the first round, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 won. In the second round, 1, 2, 3, and 4 won. And in the semis, 1 and 2 won. And then we get in the final, and number 1 goes red.
That's so amazing. Wow.
We almost could have run that one on paper. But you know, the biggest worry for any Nitro team that's not Robert or Steve Torrance is that they go into Dallas and do, you know, because last year they both won Dallas. It's been a good racetrack for both of them. And, you know, they both go in there as defending event winners with momentum, with big confidence on their side. I think the biggest fear for everybody else is that those two teams will go in and do the same thing in Dallas that they did just this week in Charlotte, and at that point they're going to really separate.
Yes, well, exactly, and you know, I know we'll both be headed to Dallas very soon, and probably the NHRA Carnival that it is on its way as we speak. Hey, Alan, that thing that you just described, whatever that is, right? Like where the top qualified cars win every round all the way through. Is that a thing? Does that happen? Do we know? What, like, you know, is that a stat that is kept track of? Had let's say Robert had won the final.
Let's just say it's a rare occurrence. You know, for there not to be one somewhere down the line. You know, a couple of times a year we'll have 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the semifinals. It's not uncommon to have 1 and 2 in the final round. You know, there's a reason they were 1 and 2 because they were the two best cars. But to have just the whole thing goes through as like a chalk draw is a very, very rare thing.
Wow. Amazing stuff. So Robert Hight gets the win, 500th round victory, or more than 500 now, or was that his 500?
Was the final.
The final was 500. Amazing stuff.
500th win light was the final round. Yep.
And that is very, very rare as well. Robert has a 44-point lead over Jack, so just over 2 rounds. 79 over John, 90 over Caps, 143 over Bob Tasca, 144 over JR. JR, you know, losing first round to John in that marquee matchup. You know, Matt Hagan, Tommy Johnson, Sean Langdon, and Tim Wilkerson rounding out the field. Funny car, a little more separation there, and I agree with you. Like this weekend, all eyes on Robert Hight. This could be a big separation weekend for him coming up.
It certainly could. And, you know, John Force needs to bounce back as well because John's got a really good car and, you know, ended up losing a really good race to Ron Capps in the second round. But I thought it was interesting, you know, when you spoke to Brian Karate after the first round, when John actually rolled in deep, knocked the top light out, and he said, you know, I wish he wouldn't do that. You know, he's going to hurt us someplace. And it didn't in that particular case because it just did still have lane choice and just ended up losing a really good race. But, you know, that John looked like at one point that he had complete confidence in Brian Karate, and he was buying into, I need to do what he tells me to do, and we'll make this happen. And again, even though they didn't get penalized for that, you know, you can just tell that they're maybe not 100% all pulling on the same oar. You know what I mean?
Could you? Okay, so I'm staring at Brian's face when he's saying that, and you guys were just kind of hearing what he said, but there was a grimace and a very, like, the word annoyed is what pops up first for me, annoyed look on his face when he elected to bring that up at the end of the comment. You know what I mean? I didn't say like, hey, John Deep Stage, what do you think about that? I said, hey, you just took down the world champ. You help yourself out. And he said, yes, but, you know, and even as he said it, Alan, which you obviously heard, but the look on his face was a grimace of annoyance.
Well, you know, we talked about it earlier in the year that there was, and not that, you know, the team's falling apart and they can't, but there was certainly some tension over there because I firmly believe that they would have won or could have won a couple more races this year. You know, as a general rule, lane choice isn't a huge thing, but sometimes the difference isn't a huge thing either. You know, you just need every advantage you can get, and to give that away And we talked about it earlier in the year. I mean, I'm thinking out on the Western Swing a little bit before that there were times that John would give up lane choice by deep staging, and that ultimately I think that cost him a better chance of winning the race. But it really looked to me like they had gotten that behind him. You know, the karate tells him, you know, and it was a deal with John and Austin Coyle too for a long time, that Austin would tell him, you have to do this, you have to do this. The way I've got the car set, the way I'm running the program, you have to do what I tell you. And John occasionally wouldn't, and it would create a little bit of tension inside the trailer. Now, obviously, those two guys had a great run for years, and I certainly don't think that there's anything out there that, you know, like, oh, the team's going to fall apart. That'll be. But I do think that it creates a little tension inside the trailer from time to time when Brian has a game plan and needs his driver to sign off on it. And with John being John, he obviously, you know, can do whatever he wants to do. And occasionally that creates a little tension inside the trailer. And it has for years.
Yeah, understood. And, you know, John Force is a force of nature in many ways and very difficult to, you know, when he's in there, right? You say it all the time, like about being on the stage with the microphone, right? Like, you know, and that moment, you're going to do what you're going to do, right? Like you've got the mic. Mm-hmm. When you're holding the wheel and you're putting the car in the beams, something jumps into John's mind, says he wants to do something different, call an audible, if you will. And he does it. And he did beat JR, took JR down, and JR, another, you know, a first-round loss here. That really hurts his championship hopes. But then John goes out to Capps, as you said, in a very good race. Capps advances, loses to Beckman. Beckman goes on, red lights to Robert. And just like that, Robert has a nice 44-point lead. Good day of racing, though. Very fun.
It definitely was a very entertaining day of racing.
Yeah, and like, and again, good crowd. Good job, Charlotte, coming out on the after day. You know, they just had that Roval race, NASCAR race in town. There's a bunch of stuff. Rained all day on Sunday, and people came out to enjoy on Monday. Pro Stock, that was very interesting. You know, Erica, dominant car throughout qualifying once again. And it turns out that the final round is Derek Kramer and Matt Hartford, and Derek Kramer comes out on top. Last week we had Eddie Granaccia on the show, and he talked about the team and their chances and their opportunities and how they felt great. Just big upsets. Fernando Quadra, which was going to be the secondary marquee matchup we picked, certainly. Quadra goes out there, takes down Bo Butner, hurts Bo badly. Hartford has a 0-1 first round. Hartford advances to the semis through Chris McGahey. Erica goes through Fernando, and Erica shakes the tires with a 16 light against Matt 50. And Matt Hartford able to go to the final round. Derek Kramer, other side of the ladder, beats Aaron Stanfield in the semis. We have spoken a lot about Aaron and his abilities over the past couple of weeks. He has a nice semifinal run. And Derek Kramer, 036, 654, wins the race and notches a win in the countdown over Matt Hartford.
Yeah, Derek had a pretty good car. The two best cars in qualifying were, as they've been for the last 4 or 5 races, Erica and Jason. And inexplicably, the Summit guys in the first round couldn't get the feet off the clutch. And I'm not telling you anything they wouldn't tell you. You know, one of them had an 096 light, and one of them, I think, had a 109. You can't win in Pro Stock like that. Just period. I don't care. You know, I don't care if it's me in the other lane. You just can't win in Pro Stock with reaction times like that. You know, you look at Erica was 0-0 in the first round. I believe Jag was perfect in the first round. And then Jag actually went red. So, you know, some of those guys are playing with fire, and sometimes that'll come back the other way around. But, you know, Erica, I still think in Pro Stock, Erica has the car to beat. And I think that she's in the best position she's been in to win a championship since she won the last championship. And that's a combination of the way the car's running and what she's doing with it. Yeah, they had a mistake in the semifinals, but I don't think that, in my mind at least, that does not diminish her standing as the favorite in the category to win the championship.
Well, it's interesting that, you know, the way you look at a championship. You know, the Yankees won the first game against the Astros, and then the second game they had another opportunity to win and kind of made a blunder and lost the game. So, you know, they really had an opportunity to put the boot on the throat, if you will. Didn't work out. They still come out with a split. Things still looking okay. The championship goes on. Similar situation with Erica, right? Running so well. Could have really put the boot on the throat of the class right here this weekend. Didn't work out, whatever, but Erica has a 38-point lead over Jason, so she was able to take the lead and expand it a little bit. Hartford is third, 39 points back. Bo, 67 back, but reeling after that round one out. Derek Kramer, 88 back. Jeg Coughlin, 111 out. Not saying Jeg is out of it by any means, but definitely, like him, if it's Jeg versus Erica, he's got a long way to go. Alex Laughlin, Greg Anderson, Chris McGahey, and Val Smeelan. You don't have to do what Torrance did last year, win them all. You just got to beat the competition, and she seems to be grinding to expanding her lead and is looking really good.
Yeah, and I believe that I don't think that the fact that they missed the call a little bit, had problem in the semifinals, diminishes the fact that in my mind she is the absolute favorite to take home the trophy. So, at the end of the year, we'll just see how the rest of it shakes out. Jason's got a really good car. They just can't seem to get any kind of momentum going on their side. But Erica's the one to beat, and as a general rule, and we saw it in 14 and 15, you give her what she needs, and she will deliver for you behind the wheel, and she's doing that right now.
Excellent. And that 2014, 2015 is coming up a lot, just in terms of emotion, how they feel, how they're handling, what they're doing, all of these things. And it has been fun to watch, very entertaining. Yeah, that round one race between Shane Tucker and Jason Line. You got Rob Oberg up there, the voice of Australian drag racing, helping you call pro stock, and he just puts a double O on Jason, who's a 10th behind at the hit. And that was a very exciting, significant run. I'm sure Jason felt terrible after it, but Australian drag racing fans, they got a very entertaining moment.
Yeah, and if you're Shane Tucker, you're at a performance disadvantage. Okay, you don't have quite as much horsepower as the other guys do, so you go up there and you do what you can do. But you still, if Jason is 50 on the tree, he wins the race, and if you're Jason, you just can't, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if he flinched or blinked or something, but he and Greg both had, very similar, really not good first-round reaction times, and both of them got sent packing because of it. If you're Jason, you can't go up there thinking to yourself, okay, well, this is going to be an easy round because I've got him out-horsepowered so much. You still have to go up and do your job because the cars are close enough at this point that, you just can't give up a 10th to anybody. I don't care who it is.
There you go. Yeah, there it is. And it wasn't even a 10th. It was like 0.12 of a second. not to rub salt into the wound, but yeah, that was a tough one right there. Pro Stock Motorcycle, another just crazy day. And in the end, it's Charlotte, and Andrew Hines wins the race. That's not out of the ordinary. But the way it all went down, Jerry Savoy, number 2 qualifier, going red in the first round to Gianna Salinas, that was surprising.
It was, but what's Tim Kalungian's thing? I need you to get your head where your feet are at.
Yeah,
and I think Jerry's had good bike. He's won a couple of races, and I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's the right thing to say. You can't go up again, like we were just saying. You can't go up there completely relaxed and go, okay, I can be a 10th or a 10th and a half late. But you also don't have to go up there when you're racing Gianna and try to be 005. Go up there, be 35 or 40 on the tree, do it, take the round win, and then come back and figure out what you got to do next round. But whether he inched her in a little deep or had something, I don't know. It's a bigger issue with the motorcycles as far as red lights go than anything else, for 2 reasons. The one reason is the machines are so light that they move very quickly. As soon as the tire sees power, it doesn't take a lot to get the machine moving. And the second one is they only have one front tire. So there's no front end stagger to give you that extra couple of inches of leeway or grace or whatever you want to call it before you roll out of the beam and the clock starts. So that's why, you typically see more red lights in Pro Stock Motorcycle than any other category. But for Jerry, and I guarantee you he felt sick about it because he didn't have to be spectacular. He didn't have to push. All he had to be was green and reasonable, and he wins the race. And it didn't happen that way. So
yeah, and those are the moments that I feel such sympathy or empathy or otherwise for the person going through it, the competitor, right? And don't get me wrong, Jerry's had a good year. He won the U.S. Nationals, all of that. But that's the kind of stuff that just rips your guts out, on the way home, etc. You don't want to have that happen. Hats off to Steve Johnson. How about those guys? Steve Johnson goes to the semifinals, has had the best bike he's had in years, really, and even actually able to go up and take in a family wedding. But they're running real well, ran a career best, his first run in the 70s for a while. Looked like something was maybe going away, though, on race day, and ran into Karen. Karen had a 1:10 reaction time against Steve's 0:29, but Steve slowed. Karen goes to the final round where she also had a 100 reaction time, came up short against Andrew. But in the point standings, looking at this now, Andrew leads Karen by 57 points, Eddie by 115, Jerry by 142. That is tough stuff for the rest of the Pro Stock motorcycle field.
Yeah, as well as Drew's bike is running right now, even though he's not best in class necessarily, but certainly most consistent. And what happened to Karen is just beyond me. She won the last race. Her reputation over the years is solid, consistent, and all of a sudden she has 2 reaction times that start with a 1. I think that surprised a lot of people. I also, though, from the credit where credit's due department, she ran the 3 fastest speeds anybody's ever run on a Suzuki. She was over 199 miles an hour 3 times. So that bike is still running very well. When's the last time Andrew Hines won on a hole shot? He just doesn't normally need the starting line advantage in order to cover it. But it was a great final round, and Karen was late, and Drew will take the trophy, and Drew will take the points and head to Dallas.
And a perfect example of how when you're going up against, in any sport, in anything, when you're going up against, let's call it, superior or, really great competition, you can't miss your opportunities. And there's an opportunity right there. Like, she gets those points. He's got 20 less. She's got 20 more. The proverbial 40-point swing we talk about all the time. And then she's got 3 races to outduel Andrew Hines for a championship. She comes up short on that race. Bad light. And all of a sudden now he's 57 up with 3 to go. And the guy's feeling confident, been on rails all year long. Going to be tough. That's all. Going to be very, very tough. And what a day it was in the Mellow Yellow Series. But as you mentioned, we are headed to Dallas. So very quick turnaround. Teams on their way. Let's talk about the 2 championships or 3 championships, starting out with Stevie Fast Jackson. That was exciting.
4 championships.
4 championships. That's right, Frankie Aragona. Let's start out with Stevie Fast Jackson and Pro Mod. His stated goal when he came to the NHRA was to win the championship, win Indy. He has now done both. And, what a great job by Billy Stocklin, and those guys to come in, and they've really owned it.
Yeah, they've got a really good race car. The thing that is most impressive about Steve Jackson's car is it's certainly fast, but it's not, the number 1 qualifier every week. He doesn't have the field covered by a 10th. When's the last time that car made a bad run?
Right.
I mean, considering what they're trying to do, the amount of power that they're putting down, and the way those Pro Mods are, their calling card is hold my beer and watch this. And that car goes straight and solid and makes very, very few bad runs. They just don't throw it any away. So if you're going to beat them, you better be pretty darn close to perfect. And, this weekend, nobody was, even though there was, there was some controversy and some other stuff going on over there in the Pro Mod ranks and even within the Bahrain 1 team. But Steve stayed very focused, task at hand. This is what I came to accomplish. Let's make it happen. And they did.
Yeah, thanks for that, Alan. Hey, Joe, go talk to Ricky. Ask him something. Okay, Alan, here I go. I'm going to go talk to Ricky. Yeah, right. Right into the belly of the beast. I could go right in there and, witnessed by hundreds on the starting line, especially the entire Pro Stock motorcycle field. But, controversy, to say the least.
Yeah, well, everybody knows that, Ricky's an emotional guy and kind of hard on the sleeve kind of thing. And, for anybody that didn't hear about it, you can find plenty of it on the web. Khaled Al-Belushi, after raking a 370 or a 571 run, qualifying number 1, his car was given further scrutiny, and NHRA opted to disqualify him from the event. There's a pretty good interview. I believe it's Drag Illustrated. There's a couple of them online, but where Brad Personette, who was running the 2 turbo cars over there for Bahrain 1, went into detail. He said, here's exactly what we did. Here's exactly what the issue was. And in Billy's mind, it's not illegal if you read the rule book. And in NHRA's mind, it apparently was over the line at some point in time. So I'm not going to get into whether or not it's legal. That's not my department whatsoever. But the fact that it's my understanding Ricky Smith is the one that brought it to the attention of the NHRA tech department. I do believe created a little tension over there inside the Al-Anabi trailer. Yeah,
to say the least. And that was the moment that Alan decides to send me over to talk to Ricky. It was great. It was very funny, and I'll actually remember that story for a while. But how about Stevie Fast, by the way? He wins the championship, but you were talking about it on NHRA.tv. Like, they want to win the race too. And that's how you do it. And then 009 in the final round against Stephen Whiteley and outruns him. Good run for Stephen Whiteley, by the way. But, dominance of the class, like, that's it. Like, has had this great career as a, outlaw racer, small tire racer, grudge racer, radio versus the world racer, steps into E3 Sparkplugs Pro Mod, says flat out on this show several times it was the most difficult and challenging thing he's ever had to do in his racing career, and conquers it. Like, that's a great drag racing story.
It is, and it was in the winner's circle at the end of the day. He was talking about the fact that, man, I should be in Valdosta right now. They've got one of Duck's events this weekend, another one. I'm sorry, I think it's No Mercy. One of them's Lights Out, one of them's No Mercy. I always get them confused. But he is headed down there because the Pro Mods don't run in Dallas, so that had always been on his schedule for this weekend. And he says, headed home, switching cars, get the radial car out, put the Pro Mod car in the shop, and head down to Valdosta and go see if they can continue the roll. But no, he's just doing a good job right now, and I love the fact that he's very brash and he's outgoing, and he's not afraid to say, hey, I came here to kick their butts. That's why I'm here. And I think pretty much everybody that unloads a car, that's why they came here. But not a whole lot of people are willing to step up and actually say it. So I think it's cool that he's got a very big personality, a very big fan following, and he definitely has some fun with it. I had him in the winner's circle. We talked about everybody that was there that had the 2-trophy day, where you won the race and won the championship. And so in the winner's circle, he's got both trophies, and I'm like, hold them up there. Okay, wait, hold them. Somebody did you get your picture? Hold them up there. And after about 30 seconds, he's like, man, these things are heavy. And I went, yeah, that's the point. I'm just sitting here making fun of you. But the fact that he understands that and gets that and has some fun with it, and not afraid to call somebody out, and not in a disrespectful way, just to, hey, that guy's running good right now. I need to go kick his tail. That's why I came here today. And I think it's good for the class.
Alan, I'm having a weird technical issue, so I want to do an end to the interview.
Sound like you fell out of your chair.
Yeah. And the end of the interview, we'll just do it now, and then we'll go back and do the rest. Well, Alan, great job. A couple of days from now, I will see you out there in Dallas.
All right, Joe, looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm home for a quick laundry and suitcase swap, and if I'm not mistaken, you got to be in Dallas the day before me, so you're even on more hustle mode.
So true, so true. I will see you out there.
All right, travel safe.
Great. Okay, now let's go back into the other two, just in case. Something started beeping, internet, like I thought maybe I would lose you, so at least now I got something to work with. Okay. Megan Meyer, Sean Bellemere. Spent a lot of time thinking about the scenarios. And you mentioned those double trophy folks. They made it easy on us. They both went out and won the race. Very, very impressive performances by both of our top alcohol champions.
It was that, especially coming down to looking at the final rounds. In Sean Bellemere semifinals, he went a 5:38, and that's what actually locked the championship for him. Final round, he went 5:40, which is stout. Obviously, Charlotte zMAX Dragway is known for those big numbers because that's where Johnny Lindbergh knocked down all those barriers a couple of years ago. But it wasn't really Disneyland conditions. It was a good day to go racing, but it wasn't really Disneyland conditions. And Bellemere went through and just crushed them. And all the players were there this weekend. So that's some of the trophies are special when you really got to work for them. When you beat all of the other top runners in the category at the time. And that was certainly one of them. And Megan basically did the same thing on her side.
Now, Sean is already a champ. He's now a two-time champ. That is a great accomplishment. They are a super team, and as long as they stay together, they are going to be the favorite to be the champ. I think they have really shown great ability over there with the Bartone brothers team. Megan Meyer is an interesting story in that she's still at the beginning of her curve, just a couple of years in, and each year getting better and better and better, has made no bones about it. The goal from day one was to go out and win a championship, and here we are, a few years into her career, and she has done it. Not only that, but the Randy Meyer Racing Team wins the Lucas Oil Top Alcohol World Championship and 2 regional championships and a second place. So, amazing year, 2019, for Randy Meyer Racing.
So you're saying they're pretty good.
So you're saying I've got a chance. Yes, that's the statement. I'm making a bold prediction here, Alan. I think Randy Meyer Racing is pretty good.
I think that the most impressive thing about Randy and what he's done is he's had so many different drivers in the 2 cars. And obviously, Megan's championship is the ultimate goal. But every time they would race one of their team cars, they would race for it. This championship could have been locked up probably a month ago or maybe more than that. If Megan hadn't been beaten a few times over the course of the year by her team cars, whether it was Julie or whoever was driving the other car out there. But, Randy, his whole deal is like, if you're going to come drive one of my cars, every time we go to the starting line, I'm going to give you the best car I can, and it's up to you to do the job and make it happen. And the fact that they race head-to-head with Megan when she's running for the championship, I think is makes it even more impressive. And then, the old classic cherry on the Sunday, the guy that was chasing her for the championship, Troy Coughlin Jr., ends up being her final victim in the final round when she ultimately locked it up. And, that's the way you want to do it. Hey, I'm the champ because I beat everybody, including the guy who's number 2, which was the last run I made down the track, locking up the championship. And I think that's doing it in impressive form. Yes,
exactly. And those 2 were on a collision course all weekend long, and the fact that they got to race and settle it like a no-doubter, right? Like the 2019 season is a no-doubter. Megan Meyer goes out there. She won Indy. She won the championship. Unbelievable year. Won it at her sponsor's race with many, like 50 people there from NGK and NTK to celebrate it, and I know that they had a great time. And Frank Aragona, Frankie now, back-to-back. That's nice.
Yeah, they've got a really good combination right now, and, when they went from dragster to altered, which, gave them back some of the index that they had used up last year, making it happen. And that, I think, they were probably the favorite all year long. They just had to race smart, not kill their index along the way, and garner as many wins and points as they could, and they made it happen. So, the Aragonas have been doing this for a long time. They understand what it takes to go fast in comp, and they understand what it takes to win in comp, and those are not always the same thing.
And Charlie Greco's engine that he dreamed up and designed with the guys from Dart is now got 3 world championships in the last 4 years.
And it was runner-up on the 4th year. Yeah, it's a pretty stout engineering piece.
Yeah, exactly, which is what, Comp Eliminator is supposed to be all about. Like, they designed an engine, which is cool. Ran our Lucas Oil Series cars out to completion on Saturday night. Super stock, Robbie Drawn. How do you pronounce Robbie's last name?
I've been going with Drotton, and I haven't had anybody tell me you're doing it wrong.
Oh, all right. Robbie Drotton, super stock win. That amazing Corvette took down Jimmy Daniels in the final round. Jimmy was going for a double. Jimmy won stock eliminator in the final round. Jonathan Anderson in super comp. John LeBouse in super gas after just some unbelievable runs. Like the run against Lauren Freer was just insanity. And Kevin Brannon, first win in top dragster, brings home his first Wally. Great for the Lucas Oil Series competitors. Smart move to run them out Saturday night. I know a lot of people were like, really, why? And the answer came on Sunday.
Yeah, and there was, there was a lot of great racing on Saturday night. But a couple of them that were a surprise to me, Jimmy Daniels, his first national event win. He's won the Hemi Challenge 4 years in a row now, and he's Division I champ. And I had to look it up 3 times. I'm going, this can't be right that he's never won a national event. But it was his first, and you talk about playing mean. Jimmy Daniels in the final round had a 001 reaction time and took 1,000 stripe.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a bracket racer, that's mean. I mean, that's just what did that guy do to you kind of stuff. That's just mean. Yeah. But no, it was some great racing. And again, it's a shame that we had to do it Saturday night because there weren't a whole lot of people there to watch it all unfold, which would have been on Sunday afternoon. But we weren't going to run it Sunday afternoon anyway, so it definitely ended up being the right call at the end of the day.
Yes, it was. Great event. Now in the rearview mirror. Time to look at the AAA Texas Fall Nationals, Texas Motorplex. We will be there very soon. Alan, great job as usual. Thank you so much. I appreciate you giving us a full debrief session here on WFO Radio Podcast. I know everybody is loving it, and I can't wait to get back to the track. I will see you there.
All right, Joe. Travel safe. I'll see you in a couple days.
Thanks, Alan. There he goes, the voice of the NHRA. Alan Reinhart joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. And this was a tough one because everybody is like home for hours. But the bottom line is, got to get it in, right? Got to get it in for the WFO Radio listeners. Ran into a lot of WFO Radio listeners out there in Charlotte. It's always one of our biggest races. A lot of people came out very sad we lost Sunday. Monday was fun while it lasted. And good stuff. Good stuff. But now it's on to Texas. And we are headed to the Texas Motorplex. I'll be out there for Hardcore Thursday. And it is going to be a whole lot of fun. Didn't get an ignition show in this week just because of many factors, which I will be happy to elaborate at a later date. The bottom line is this, I got to save the voice for 4 straight days of action out there at the Texas Motorplex. And Charlotte's always challenge stuff. Big thanks to Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, MagicDryUS.com, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, Rodax, coffeeandgrills.com, and samtech.edu, plus Drag Racing Edge and EV3 Drag Racing. Thank you to everybody who said what's up, and we will have more interviews to come. Like, who will they be? Steve Torrance, Robert Height, Andrew Hines, Derek Kramer. Are we going to get everybody in the limited amount of hours? Are we going to put out a factory stock podcast? Is all that going to happen? It's all up in the air. I can't promise you anything right now, but we're going to do our best. So let's see what happens. WFO.
WFO! The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
I love WFO Radio.
Oh, yeah.
You're working in the shop, you've got spills, you've spilled oil, it's everywhere. What are you going to do? I know what you're going to do, but that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to go to MagicDryUS.com and order the official organic absorbent of the National Hot Rod Association, Magic Dry. It's lighter, it absorbs more, it's better for the environment. It's made out of coconut. It's made in America. MagicDryUS.com. They've got spill kits that include everything you need for a regular, normal household spill, all the way up to a large industrial spill. We always say, if you've got a cat, get Cat Spot. If you've got a shop, if you've got a factory, if you've got a spill, call Magic Dry. That's MagicDryUS.com. Attention adrenaline junkies, Frank Hawley's Dragster Adventure is calling you. Rides available for the 2020 season. Go to FrankHawley.com. They're coming to a track near you. It makes a great gift, and you know the holidays are coming, whether it be licensing for Super Comp, Super Gas, all the way up to Top Alcohol. They can do it. But if you're a drag racing fan and you've always imagined what it might be like to drive a dragster, to accelerate 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and run 10s in the quarter mile, give them a call. 866-480-7223, FrankHawley.com, The Dragster Adventure, and tell them you heard it on WFO. Hey, engine builders, Total Seal Piston Rings are the leader in ring seal technology, and they go out of their way to help their customers and will make custom sets for any specific piston you might have. Customer service, top notch. Made in America? Absolutely. They're located in Phoenix, Arizona, and they've got everything it takes to develop the world's best piston rings. Give them a call at 800-874-2753 or go to TotalSeal.com.
Subscribe to WFO Radio on iTunes. Never miss a show. And don't forget to write a review. WFO.
This is WFO Radio.